In this video, we are going to continue talking about completing the square. And I have an equation here. And we want to try to factor that and, maybe graph it. But in any case, we want to factor it and see if we can solve it and see where this equation may go through the x-axis. So we're going to try to complete the square. And there's a bunch of ways to do this. I could bring this 15 over here to start, but let's just go ahead and leave it over there for right now. All right, so I'm going to say x squared minus 16x plus something equals negative 15 plus something. Okay? Now, what is half of negative 16? Well, that's negative 8. What is negative 8 times negative 8? It's positive 64. By the way, guys, it's always going to be positive because when you square something, it even if it's negative, it turns it positive. All right, so now I've added 64 to both sides of the equation. Okay, now I can factor this, and this is going to be what times what equals 8 that adds up to negative 16. Well, negative 8 plus negative 8 adds up to negative 16, but when you multiply negative 8 times negative 8, it equals 64. So, my answer will be x minus 8 times x minus 8 equals, now when I say 64 take away 15, that's going to be 49, I'll tell you right now. Computer or calculator problem. All right, this is just x minus 8 squared equals 49. Now, depending on what we want to do, guys, you might leave it like this. You might say, okay, this answer is radical x minus 8 squared, and then bring the 49 over, so it's minus 49 equals 0. And then you would know that when you graph it, the vertex is going to be 8, negative 49. So if I graph this thing, the vertex is going to be over here 8 and way down here with negative 49. Okay? And it's going to go through these 2 points somehow like that. Okay? But let's say that we want to actually solve it and see where the x-intercepts are. This is another easy way to do it. Let me show you. I want to get rid of the square sign. To get rid of the square sign, I have to go the square root of that and the square root of that. Well, when I take the square root of a square, I'll tell you, everything goes away except what's under the radical. So this is just x minus 8 equals. Now, the square root of 49, I have to say plus or minus 7 because it can be both. All right? So watch this. I'm going to go plus 8 on both sides. So now I've got this. I have x equals 7 plus 8 and x equals negative 7 plus 8. It equals both of those solutions. So 7 plus 8 is 15. 8 take away 7 is 1. So I have two answers. One is 1 and the other answer is 15. All right? There's one example. I'm going to show you now what happens every time we've done one of these problems so far. We've done it with the x square coefficient being 1. The number in front of the x, the coefficient. Now we're going to show you one where it has a different number in front. Let's say we have a problem like this. 2x squared plus 20x minus 8 equals 0, equals whatever. All right, now before I can solve this problem using the completing this, I could go ahead and do this by the quadratic right now. I could use the quadratic formula and solve that right now. This is the A, this is the B, this is the C. But because when I look at it, I know I can reduce this thing for one thing. If I divide 2 into all of these terms, 2 goes into 2 one time, so I'll just have a 1x squared left here, plus 2 goes into 20, 10 times, 10x. 2 goes into -8, -4 times. Now I'm back down to my regular coefficient of 1 in front of the x squared term. All right, so here we go. We're going to take half of this and we're going to add it to both sides. So I'm going to have x squared plus 10x plus something, and I already have the -4, equals the something. All right, what is half of 10? 5. What is 5 squared? 25. So I'm adding 25 to both sides. All right, now I can go ahead and factor this. So I'm going to go x. I'm just going to factor this little part, guys, okay? So x plus 5 squared. X plus 5 times x plus 5 equals x plus 5 squared minus 4 equals 25. Now all I'm going to do is pull again, depending on what we want to do, I'm going to pull the 25 over, so minus 25. So I will have x plus 5 squared minus 29, which means if I graph this thing, when I pull this out, it's -5 and -29. This is my vertex, -5, -29, so I'm going to go -5 and -29 is way down here somewhere. Not sure exactly where. And that's that. However, if I wanted to, figure out where the two things are, then let's take it right back up to here. Let me erase just this much. If I want to find out what the 2 points are, I can do this. I can go x plus 5 squared equals, now I've got 25, and I'm going to pull the -4 over, so plus 4. So now I have x plus 5 squared equals 29. And again, I'll take the square root of both sides. So x plus 5 equals radical 29. And when I do that in my calculator, sorry guys, can't find my calculator. Okay, second radical 29 equals 5.38. So I'm going to say about 5.38. All right, and remember this is plus and minus. All right, so I'm going to bring over the 5, so it's going to be -5 plus 5.38 and -5 minus 5.38. And when I add those, when I combine those two things, this will just be -0.38, and this will be -10.38. All right, so when you're graphing this thing, this -0.38 is going to be, right there somewhere, and the -10.38 is going to be way over here somewhere. Okay? So there you go. But the thing to remember on this one, guys, is this is a no-no. You can't complete the square until you get rid of that 2. All right? So that's that.